Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Call me Mr. Tibbs.
Bazinga!
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Another Mad Expert Review coming your way. Today we are looking over the 007 No Time to... What do you mean?
Postponed.
I know, they bumped it from the holidays to...
Postponed again.
Oh, for sake. Another Mad Expert Review coming your way today. The new Tom Cruise sequel to the 80s hit Top Gun. Postponed?
Yep.
Until when?
I don't know, the second coming?
That could be never. Mission Impossible 17? Fine. Stupid COVID. Okay, in that case, I guess we're going to have a look at one of the oldest movie and TV heroes. This looks like a job for... This looks like a job for Superman and Lois. That's right, your mad expert, me, Michael Menza, is going to review the latest take on the Man of Steel and his return to family life and Smallville, Kansas. Starring Tyler Hoechlin, Elizabeth Tulloch, Alex Garfin, and Jordan Elsis. It's nearly impossible to rate any live version of one of the oldest comic book heroes without comparing it to the other 80 years of live-action Superman performances. But we're certainly going to try. With the first 2 episodes under our belt as of this review, we're going to leap over a tall building and right into the good. While Tyler Hoechlin isn't quite of the same physical stature of the quintessential Superman, he more than makes up for it in his ability to channel the warmth and heart necessary to make Clark's alter ego relatable. As I'm sure most people will agree, Christopher Reeves did it best. Brandon Routh did a passable and underrated turn channeling Chris Reeves' perfect take, but sadly, Zack Snyder's directions in Man of Steel forced Henry Cavill to deliver a Superman bogged down in introspection, angst, clouded by self-doubt, and you know what? I'll save that for the Snyder Justice League Recut review next month. Then, of course, there was Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher, their take on Lois and Clark and what that romance would have been like before Dean Cain went sour on the role that made him famous. And there was Tom Welling's great run as Superboy in Smallville and a very forgettable Superboy TV series, hardly worth mentioning, that had cast 2 separate actors in the role after the first one had some problems with the law. Of course, television's first Superman, the unflappable George Reeves. Continuing the TV take on the Big Blue Boy Scout is the CW's Superman and Lois, who we previously met on a few episodes of Supergirl and other WB DC crossover hero series. Hero serios? Bringing us to the next obvious evolution of Superman mythology and what he and Lois would be like if they decided to take their now teenage sons back to a small town in Kansas and raise their family. Now, besides Tyler Hoechlin's great spin on a family man, Superman, there's some great young talent on this show. Alex Garfin as Jordan Kent. Jordan Elsis as Jonathan Kent give very satisfying performances as the fraternal twin sons of Kal-El. Indy Navarrete as Lana Lang Cushing's daughter. Yes, Lana Lang got married. And of course, every other typically CW high school character type, they're all entirely believable in their roles, even when they feel a little bit forced. Elizabeth Tulloch, whose resemblance to Margot Kidder is more than a little unnerving, delivers the tough, no-nonsense Lois Lane that we've come to expect. At times, especially when settling family squabbles, it feels like the real hero of the series is going to be her. I mean, who else can take Superman, get him to back down from a fight without having to demolish half a city block? We're especially pleased with the casting of Angus McFadden as the holographic Jor-El of Krypton. When Brando took over the role, and later Russell Crowe, we kept getting distracted by the status of the actor. Don't get me wrong, they were both brilliant in the role, but their star clout tended to overshadow their portrayal, especially Brando. Now McFadden, who you might remember best from Braveheart, is just under the radar enough to allow his talent to shine above his name. He's so good as the holographic father of Superman, Jor-El, and the grandfather of the boys, quickly getting renamed Hologramps by Jordan. And I can't wait to see more of Hologramps. Rounding out the cast is Dylan Walsh as General Sam Lane, Lois's dad. When did Dylan Walsh become old enough to play a grandfather to teenage boys? And Adam Rayner as the morally ambiguous Morgan Edge, which brings me faster than a speeding bullet to the bad. Let's make no mistake about it. This is at times a typical CW show filled with their spectacularly narrow idea of what teenagers are, or perhaps what they think teenagers should be. Despite the talent of the younger cast members, the relationships between the twin Kent boys and their new friends and adversaries in town feel rushed, forced, and formulaic. There's a highly predictable bullying, there's standard misunderstandings, typical Hollywood idea of how a teen acts, but there's a nice surprise twist that will hopefully bring about some unique turns later on. And there's the introduction of a familiar Superman villain right in the first episode. Exactly who and what you might expect. And apparently, Lois will have to deal with a villain of her own in the stock, greed-driven character of a corporate baddie, Morgan Edge. It feels like they're force-feeding us conflicts to try and make things interesting way too quickly. Yeah, we know. The twins are going to have issues with their parents. The parents are going to have to choose between saving the planet or settling a brother blowout. Blah, blah, blah. You know, it would be fine if these things that grew over time, but there was no need to give us all of them right away. In the first episode, it's like there's spoilers of the show right there in the show. Unfortunately, there's also a major plot point that necessitates some knowledge of the recent WB-DC crossover event, Crisis on Infinite Earths, from last season's sibling shows, Green Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, and my favorite, DC's Legends of Tomorrow. If you haven't seen those episodes, or if you're not at least familiar with the comic book event of the same name from the 70s, you're going to have some questions about the main villain and large parts of the story. If you're joining the DC TV universe for the first time with SNL, oh crap, Superman and Lois, SNL. So much for referencing this show by its initials. All right, to help you out, I'm going to give you a brief outline here of that which you need to know ahead of time. In the world of comics, and if you are a reader, you'll notice that some characters will get rewritten, reimagined, restructured as the times change. This is necessary to do, so they do it to keep new audiences interested and retain older audiences. It's why there are often several titles of comics telling the stories of only one character. It's why 80 years later, Superman and Lois are still in their 30s. This plethora of titles will lead to a complete mishmash of confusing and convoluted storylines that run the risk of alienating readers. It got so bad in the 70s that DC Comics did a multiple comic book crossover event combining stories going back to the 40s. They explain the number of different iterations of their major characters by attributing this to a multi-universe theory. The multiverse was undergoing a massive rewrite. All the DC Comics editors decided to take all the different Earths that were numbered Earth 1 through Earth Infinite and take all the major versions of the heroes from different Earths in the different universes and stage a bizarre battle across dimensions, consolidating them into just a couple of Earths, thereby simplifying the entire DC universe. Confused? It's okay. Even quantum physicists were confused. Spoiler alert, this is going to be a major plot point of the upcoming Flash movie, so you better brush up on your DC Comics history and review your Einstein-Rosen space-time continuum theories before that film comes out. And just like that more powerful than a loco storyline, this brings me to the rest, with the requisite super showdowns and hero battles that we expect. There is a satisfying amount of well-crafted special effects and clearly some money spent on the visuals. Plus, a very familiar Smallville backdrop and that Kent Farm mailbox that seems to pop up in so many Superman histories that it would be weird not seeing it. There are enough callbacks to classic Superman canon, with his Fortress of Solitude crystals to the kryptonite threat that is ever present. There's a great super suit Easter egg in the first few minutes of the show that calls back a Max Fleischer design from the 40s. And so many other familiar plot devices that the superfan and all of us will be imminently satisfied. Tyler Hoechlin embraces the Clark Kent humility and projects the Superman Super Boy Scout so well that any dissatisfaction we suffered at the hands of Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill's Man of Steel is quickly forgotten. The strength of most DC heroes is to aim the stories at a younger, more innocent audience, where good and evil are more easily discernible. They succeed here without forgetting that some of us adults and seniors have been fans of these characters since their inception over 80 years ago. No, I'm not that old. Unlike other comic book heroes and characters like the Dark Knight, the Big Blue Boy Scout is not meant to be a complex character. And while the books will, from time to time, vary the storylines a little, he is essentially a small-town farm boy raised on the principles of an idealistic middle America sensibility. His true super strength is not the invincibility, flight, heat vision, or other incredible powers. It's his innate sense of what's right and the ability to not let nearly absolute power corrupt those ideals. This show looks like it's going to capture that mythology and run with it. Hockland, Tulloch, and the rest of the cast, crew, and writers led by Greg Berlanti appear to be ready to deliver on that promise of a Man of Steel whose moral fiber we can take some important life lessons from. My final rating. It's available on broadcast TV on the CW, so it's easy to access. Costs nothing and well worth searching for. If you're a DC fan, you will be happy you've joined in. If you're a Superman fan, you will enjoy. Now, I often hear this phrase, they just don't make shows like they used to. That's not true. It's just the people are too lazy to find them. This one is a make 'em like they used to show that is family friendly, fun, and a great way to unwind at the end of the day. It's on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. following The Flash, so it's a great night for DC fans. In the words of that classic series, look up in the sky, it's a bird brain. It's a plane, idiot. It's Super Geek. You're a Mad Expert. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get the alerts. And check out the new Mad Expert website. There will be a link in the description below. You'll find archived reviews there. Links to the Monday night, 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Film Festival podcast by our friends over at the Eridan Show. Also available on your favorite podcast sites. I'm a regular. Coming soon, I will have articles, entertainment, and news and info will be available on the Mad Expert website. Nice glasses, Clark.